Very excited to sit down today with not only my boss, but the founder and CEO of Mercury Performance Group, Bryan Howard. I'm Tony Lawrence, and I'm also on the Mercury team. Very exciting times for Mercury, and I think for the business world as Bryan launches the Vanguard Edge, your six-step method to unparalleled team success. You can find it today. It launched, I believe, yesterday, right, Bryan?
Yes, Tuesday actually.
Yeah, so congratulations. This is, like I said, it's an exciting time for everybody. And to jump right into it, Bryan, so let's talk about like why the Vanguard Edge and why now?
Yeah, so let me start off by saying thanks for doing this live today, Tony. I appreciate that, and also thanks for being a part of our Vanguard team here at Mercury Performance Group. We appreciate that. I'm coming to you today from sunny Jacksonville, Florida, from my music room at home because we talk about being adaptive and resilient in the book, The Vanguard Edge, and that's what I'm doing today because our internet went out at the office, so we're on work from home
Yeah, that's been a problem
instead.
for a while now.
Yes, fun times.
Yep.
To answer your question, though, the uh, the Vanguard Edge I think is important because managers and leaders, by and large, need help these days. The environment's changed quite a bit uh, over the last couple of years, especially since COVID, and with remote environments and hybrid environments, and then trying to make it work with offices as well. Managers and leaders are under a lot of pressure these days to build good, high performing teams under a lot of strenuous circumstances. Probably the easiest way to say it. And there's a lot of books out there that offer philosophies. I won't name any right now, but a lot of business books. You read the business book and you get to the end of it, and you think all of that is great. There's so many great quotes in this book and so many good things to think about, but there's no tactics in the book. This is not a how-to book. It's a philosophy book. So I wrote the Vanguard Edge to be the exact opposite of that. This is a tactics book right from the beginning. As a matter of fact, it says right in the title, a six-step approach, and that's exactly what it is. So when we think about leaders and managers leading their teams today, it's funny. I think back to a chessboard, and the person who's playing chess is managing all the pieces on the board, and obviously the person playing is representing the king on the chessboard. And when the player decides what to do, he just moves the pawn or moves the rook or moves the bishop, and those parts on the chessboard, pieces on the chessboard, don't have any they don't have any say in the game. And
Right.
teams is very different, right? It's completely different
Yeah.
because the pawns, the rooks, the bishops, the queen, all of the pieces on the board, they have hopes and dreams and aspirations. They want to move up in the company. They want to take care of their families. Maybe they're dealing with an illness at home or taking care of a elderly parent. And so there's a lot more to it than just saying, move a pawn piece 2 squares, because they have other motives than just coming to work every day. So this book is really about helping all those people that are on that chessboard contribute in a way that's meaningful to them and successful for the company.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I love chess, partially because you're moving the pieces very strategically, but you're also thinking ahead about three moves. You're anticipating what's going to happen, by your opponent. In this case, the economy, all the winds of change within the business environment. So, yeah, I mean, for us at Mercury, we get to be a part of this team that you're building, right? We're in the pot with you, right? We are doing this together. I think what's neat about the book is that very few people read. If you're going to be a leader, you got to be a reader. But then to actually write a book, I think just it makes it very momentous. It's very it's a huge accomplishment. So we benefit, like I said, from being a part of the team. But who can benefit from this book? For anyone watching who's like, hey, is this going to be good for me? What can I benefit from the content? Who can benefit from this book, do you think?
It's funny that you asked that. I was having a conversation with somebody just a few days ago about this launch, and he asked me the same question, and I said, "Well, it's really for all leaders and managers at every level of a company. And of course, the C-suite would benefit from this, but so would a line level manager, even early in their career. So someone who's seasoned, someone who's early in their career. If you lead a team, or even want to be a high performer on a team, this book is for you. The other thing that the gentleman I was speaking with brought up to me, which I hadn't really thought of before, but as he looked through the book, he said this book would be great for for-profit companies. It would be great for not-for-profit companies. Would be good for sports teams. Would be good for charity boards, um, associations, those types of things. Basically, anybody who has a team of people doing work towards a common goal, this book's for you. So basically, wherever teams are, this book will help.
Do you think that, obviously the book can be read apart from any sort of like on-site activity, but did you also write the book with any sort of implementation or help, even personal implementation by yourself, within a company, almost like a Covey type model? What are the thoughts there? Is it completely independent, or is there some on-site potential there as well?
No, there's some on-site potential too. It's so the book itself is around 150 pages, and I tried to keep that 150 pages as light as possible. So it's got some good stories in it that talk about each of the chapters and each of the 6 steps, what I call the 6M framework. And 6M framework was really coined by a friend of mine, Mike Koenigs, who wrote another book called Your Next Act, which also has a 6M framework. So I borrowed that from him and adapted it for teams. His is a book about more for solopreneurs. And um, the way we developed the book was we put the book content is important. It can stand alone by itself, but we also developed a companion website. And so when you buy the book, you get access to the website, and the website has as much or more content on it than the 150 pages of the book itself. And all of that is included in the cost of the book. So you buy the book, you get the companion website at no additional cost.
So yeah, I want to talk more about this. So how can you give some more color on how that interaction works exactly? Is it at what points in the book do you get to the interactive pieces, or kind of how does that framework operate when you're reading through it? Because I think it's pretty unique as far as the interactive nature of the content.
Sure. So the book is 6 steps, and the book is broken down into 6 chapter, and each chapter is for an M in the book. Just so I can quit being vague and saying M's. The chapters in the book are mindset, mission, model, messaging, metrics, and multipliers. So that's the 6M framework that you're working between. And as you go through the book, you read about mindset in the beginning of the book, and one of the first things you encounter is a quiz, basically an assessment that you can take. And the book is called the Vanguard Edge, and the purpose of the book is to help readers build a Vanguard team. And since neither of those things have been defined yet, in the introduction in the first chapter of the book, we define that. So you take an assessment, which you can find on the website, and it's free. We don't charge anything extra for the assessments. And you take the assessment, and it categorizes you into one of 4 quadrants. And the upper right-hand quadrant of the chart is the Vanguard quadrant, and that's the quadrant you want to be in. So a lot of people will take the assessment, fall into one of the other quadrants, and then you spend the rest of the book learning how to move from the quadrant that you're in into the Vanguard quadrant in the upper right-hand corner. So just to give you an example, right at the beginning of the book in chapter 1, you're already going to the website and taking an assessment, and then bringing the results of that assessment back into the book environment, and then reading further. Okay, now I have my result. What do I do with it? So let me read further in the book, and you find out. And it has that type of interaction throughout the entire book. So it's not a read it to the end and then go visit the website. You
Mhm.
actually visit the website throughout each chapter.
You and I both know that many leaders are very process oriented. So it sounds like that's going to be a very nice feature for people who want to shed those, set those short milestones,
Yes.
and you can sort of feel accomplished, right, as you get through each one. So I think that's really smart, and not leaving the entree, so to speak, at the end, but actually being able to nibble throughout the book. I think that's brilliant. We probably should have bragged a bit up front, but this is the top new release on Amazon. It's doing great in the business category, and I think it's actually now a bestseller so far. So, it's a tough question, but why do you think this book, is resonating so far the way that it has? Any thoughts come to mind on that?
Yeah, I think I go back to what I said at the beginning of this is that leaders and managers need help right now. They're trying to build teams. They're trying to do more with less every day, and so the book can help them do that. And I think people are recognizing that. So the more it gets into the hands of people, and the more people are reading it, um, uh, I hope they're telling other people about it and sharing the things that they've learned. We've been super impressed with the response and the demand so far. It's humbling in a way because I want to get this out to everybody, and I appreciate that people like it so far. And so those accolades are nice, and hopefully the book is doing some good for others.
Well, I'm hoping that when I publish my psych thriller, you'll be somewhere on the pages, right? So,
Yes.
we stand on the shoulders of giants, and this is huge. So, let's go a little more on the personal side, Brian. What books are sort of like within your easy reach these days? Who are, some of your favorite authors? You mentioned a couple, but in case people joined late and missed it, um, what are some of your favorite reads, either personally or in the business world? Business world.
Sure. I tend to read multiple books at once, just switch back and forth between them. On my nightstand right now, do most of my reading at night. On the nightstand right now is a Map of Consciousness Explained by David Hawkins, which is a really interesting book about developing a higher level of consciousness and presence every day. Uh, Mile One, which I'm actually reading for the second time. It's from a friend of mine, a terrific leadership book by Ed Roberts. And then the other book I have on there is one that I just started reading, which is The Perfect Story from Karen Eber, and that's a story about harnessing the power of storytelling to get things done. Which storytelling is part of our messaging chapter in this book, but Karen takes it to a whole nother level, and she has a terrific TED Talk if you get a chance to watch it. Karen Eber, it's Eber.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I think for those watching, we as a team at Mercury, we often talk about what we're reading. We read, works together, and Brian really initiates a lot of that. All of us, I think, individually are readers, but I think it's neat too, and something to take back to your company is find something that you can read together because it really does help. I think from a unity standpoint and an alignment standpoint. Do you agree with that, Brian?
I do, yes. Nothing like learning together.
Yeah, yeah, that's well said. So what else is in the pipeline? Do you have anything else you're working on, that will come out in the next, months or next year or so?
I don't think it'll be months, but it's funny. I've spent a lot of time. Some people that watch this video may be asking the question, "Hey, you interviewed me for the Inchworm book, and this book came out first." And that's because the Inchworm book needs some more research and writing. But that's what I'm working on next is a book called The Inchworm Effect, which is a book about performance improvement. And I interviewed several hundred HR, learning, and operations leaders across the United States, a few foreign, a few in other countries, I should say. And so I'm taking everything that they had to say plus my Inchworm Effect methodology and building this book. So it's going to be very exciting. And another book I'm working on the side of that is a book about helping children in underserved communities reach their full potential. And that's also a how-to guide so that when people read it, they can uh, understand slash learn how to help these children succeed in life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. And I know that as a company, we're going to take on some of the philanthropic and important work as well, especially in that category. So really, really proud of that as well. So let's talk about, we have a little bit of time. Want to leave some room for questions if people want to throw some out there. We're going to save that until the end, just so everybody knows. I probably should have told you that early on, but we're going to save those questions to the end. But where can people get the book? I know it's on Kindle, it's on Amazon. I think does that pretty much cover it?
Yes, it's so if you want the paperback, it's on Amazon. If you want the ebook, you can get that on Amazon for Kindle or Barnes and Noble for Nook, or on Kobo if you prefer that. If you have a Kobo reader, and the easiest way to do it instead of giving out a bunch of links is you can go to vanguardedge.com / get the book. So it's vanguardedge.com / get the book. There, not only can you just click the links to go buy the book, but you can also sign up for our newsletter, which will give you lots of good information about what's up and coming with the Vanguard Edge, with the communities that we're building, videos we're releasing, those types of things. So you can stay in the know if you go there and register and click there to get your book as well.
Great. Thanks for that. So I want to give you a moment to share anything that maybe we haven't covered. But before I do that, one question that came to mind, but I didn't ask yet, was from a content standpoint of Vanguard Edge. For those who might be thinking, well, this is just like probably a compilation of thought leadership over time, and maybe an aggregate of some of that information versus new information that maybe people haven't thought about, or they're not thinking about. Can you maybe respond to that as far as what information is really the brainchild of Bryan Howard? We again, as a team, we cover a lot of these principles, and again are very grateful and privileged to have a guy like you at the helm, because things are going great for Mercury, and we're excited to be here. But how much this is from really your experiences? Maybe you can share some of those experiences versus just an aggregate, an aggregation of everything that sort of people know about sort of philosophically in the business world.
So it is a culmination of all of my experience, but a lot of those experiences didn't come from me. They came from other leaders too. I used to work for a rent to own company called Champion Rent to Own ages and ages ago. It's been so long ago I don't have it on my LinkedIn profile or my resume because it's just old. But I had a really great manager who I worked with there. He was like the director of operations for Champion Rent to Own, and he used to have two great phrases that I loved, and I still use them today. You won't see these phrases necessarily exactly in the book, but you'll see a lot of the tenets from them. But the two phrases he used to use all the time were train them and trust them, and I have to say it just like him: train them and trust them. And then the other thing he said, but don't forget to inspect what you expect.
Yeah.
And those two phrases are embodied beautifully in this book throughout the 6 steps. Never forget that. It's really good. It was really good to know Craig Smith. He passed away a couple years ago, but it was great to know him when I got to, and he taught me a lot about leadership. Something else I should mention about this book, and you just reminded me about it, is there's a lot in it. It's a little bit on the dense side as far as bullet points and discussion of tools and templates and resources, because I want to tell you about them, and then you can go actually get the tool itself on the website. But you can do this by yourself. If you're reading this book, you can implement a Vanguard team on your own. You don't need anything else. I'm giving you all the tools and resources that you need to do that. We also have at Mercury Performance Group, we have two models that we use here for this material. One is we can do it with you, so we just guide you along the way and help you build a Vanguard team right alongside of you. And then the other thing we can do too, obviously, is we can do it for you. Now we can't build the team for you, but we can do a lot of the work. So when you look at the tools and templates, and you look at all the resources that are in the book and the resources that are on the website, and you think, wow, this is a lot of work. I don't think we can do it, or we just don't have the resources to do this, but we'd love to build a Vanguard team in our organization. Then Mercury Performance Group can come and build that with you or for you, whatever works best. But back to what I said originally, and I think this is very important. For $12.95 for the paperback, or for right now 99 cents for the ebook on the three vendors I mentioned, you can get everything you need to do this. So for $12.95, you can build your own Vanguard team.
That's awesome, Brian. So let me ask you this, because others who are potentially maybe looking to write books, we know a lot of people aspire to do it, but few actually do it. What did you learn in the process that maybe you didn't expect up front, right? And then what advice would you give to anybody who is looking to, write their own book?
So writing a book is probably the hardest thing that I've ever done, and it takes a long time and a lot of effort and research. And you got to have good friends and people that are willing to proofread for you or read and tell you if it's crazy. The other thing that's funny about this particular book is that we developed a lot of tools and templates throughout the book, and so we had to pressure test those not just with friends and colleagues, but with other great minds and even our clients in some cases. So these things have been tried and tested, and they work. And so, if you're going to write a book, just start doing it. Spend time doing it every day. Make it a habit. Uh, find a good publisher, a good editor. Make sure you have the resources in place. We don't do anything on this earth by ourselves. And I'm going to butcher this saying, so I'm just going to paraphrase what Michael Jordan said. As he says, individuals win games, teams win championships, and so writing a book is often a team effort too.
Sage advice. Anything else you'd like to share about the Vanguard Edge before we maybe take questions if they pop through, or adjourn? Anything else you'd like to share?
Nothing else to add. Just go get the book. Visit the vanguardedge.com/get the book. Click the link of whichever one works for you. Get it. You can reach me personally at Bryan, Bryan .Howard at vanguardedge.com. So if you have any questions as you're reading through the book, or you want to chat about it, feel free to reach out, and I'll try to be as available as I can be for people that email.
Well, Bryan, again, congratulations. We're all very excited for you. I'm going to remind everyone the book is The Vanguard Edge, your 6-step method to unparalleled team success. Go and get it. Bryan, you rock. Appreciate your time today. And we will catch you all on the next broadcast. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks all.
Thanks, Bryan. Appreciate it.